The story opens on the peaceful trading world of Kellen Prime, where Ambassador Mira sits in the Galactic Council chambers. The blue-skinned Kellen are known throughout the galaxy as skilled diplomats and merchants, their world serving as a neutral, meeting ground for dozens of species. During a routine council session, an urgent distress signal breaks through all communication channels. The transmission crackles with static and fear as Captain Knox of the mining colony on Pharaoh Station sends out a desperate plea. His voice shakes as he describes how the Ravager fleet, a notorious band of space pirates, has surrounded their small outpost. The Ravagers are led by the cruel warlord Kex, whose black ships have terrorized the Outer Rim for years. They demand the colony's entire supply of rare crystals used in faster-than-light travel, threatening to destroy the station and kill all 2,000 colonists if their demands aren't met within 3 days. Ambassador Mira immediately calls for an emergency session. The chamber fills with representatives from across the galaxy, the tall, elegant Altarians with their silver skin, the insect-like Vex with their compound eyes, and the sturdy, rock-skinned Gorans. Each species pledges what they can spare, but their combined forces amount to only a handful of patrol ships and supply vessels. The Altarians offer their fastest scouts for reconnaissance. The Vex promise their advanced communication arrays to coordinate rescue efforts. The Gorans volunteer their heavy cargo ships to evacuate civilians. But everyone knows it won't be enough against Warlord Kex's 100-ship armada of heavily armed raiders. As the council debates and argues over insufficient resources, young aide Tom from the human embassy quietly steps forward. The other species barely notice him. Humans are still newcomers to the Galactic Council, having joined only 5 years ago after their planet Earth was discovered on the galaxy's dangerous outer edge. Tom clears his throat and speaks in simple, measured words. "The Human Federation would like to contribute to the rescue mission," he says. The chamber falls silent, curious about what this young species from a death world could possibly offer. The other ambassadors exchange glances. Humans come from a world so hostile that most species consider it uninhabitable, a place where the weather can kill, where creatures hunt each other for survival, and where the very ground sometimes shakes and splits open. While they respect human tenacity, few expect much military aid from such a recently spacefaring civilization. Tom continues, "We will send appropriate assistance to Pharaoh Station." His words are calm and simple, but something in his tone makes Ambassador Mira pause. There's a quiet confidence there, a certainty that seems out of place given humanity's limited known resources. The Altarian representative Lord Vel speaks with barely concealed condescension. "We appreciate the gesture, young human, but this requires significant firepower. Perhaps your species could provide medical supplies or food rations instead." Tom simply nods and activates his communication device. "This is Embassy Aide Tom requesting immediate aid authorization for Pharaoh Station rescue operation," he says into the device. "Situation: 2,000 civilian lives at risk from Ravager fleet attack." The response comes quickly through the chamber's speakers. Authorization granted. Fleet deployment commencing immediately. Estimated arrival at Pharaoh Station in 18 hours. Fleet deployment. The alien representatives look confused. What fleet could humanity possibly have that would make a difference against the Ravagers? Tom closes his communication device and looks around the chamber. "The human fleet will handle the Ravager threat," he states matter-of-factly. "We recommend all civilian evacuation ships maintain safe distance until the area is secured." As the session ends and representatives return to their ships to coordinate the rescue mission, none of them quite know what to expect from humanity's promised aid. The humans have been quiet members of the galactic community, keeping mostly to themselves and rarely making grand gestures. Ambassador Mira finds herself curious about these Deathworlders and their confident young aide. She decides to travel to Pharaoh Station herself, aboard a Kellen diplomatic vessel, wanting to witness firsthand what kind of help Earth might send. As ships from across the galaxy begin their journey toward the besieged mining colony, news spreads. Through subspace communications, The story becomes a topic of interest throughout civilized space. What happens when you ask Deathworlders for help? The answer, as the galaxy is about to discover, is that you get more than you bargained for. 18. Hours later, Ambassador Mira stands on the bridge of the Kellen diplomatic ship as it approaches Pharaoh Station. Through the view screen, she can see the mining colony, a small collection of industrial modules and living quarters built around a massive asteroid. Surrounding it, like hungry wolves, circle the black ships of the Ravager fleet. Warlord Kex's flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Iron Fang, sits directly in front of the station. Its weapon arrays gleam menacingly in the light of the nearby star. The other Ravager ships spread out in attack formation, destroyers, cruisers, and fighter squadrons, all ready to turn the peaceful mining colony into debris. Captain Knox's voice crackles over the communication channel, strained with exhaustion and fear. This is Pharaoh Station. We have 16 hours left on the ultimatum. Where is the rescue fleet? The scattered ships from various galactic species hover at a safe distance. Ambassador Mira counts them quickly. 12 vessels total, mostly small. Patrol craft and supply ships. Against Warlord Kex's 100-ship armada, they look like toys. This is Lord Vel aboard the Altarian scout ship Silver Wind, comes the elegant voice of the Altarian representative. We are monitoring the situation and coordinating evacuation procedures. All civilian transport ships should prepare for rapid departure once we create a distraction. The plan, such as it is, involves the Allied ships making a feint attack to draw some of the Ravager forces away, while transport vessels try to evacuate as many colonists as possible. Everyone knows it's hopeless. They might save a few hundred people before the Ravagers destroy both the station and the rescue ships. Suddenly, the ship's sensor operator, a young Kellen named Dex, looks up from his console with confusion. Ambassador, I'm reading massive energy signatures approaching from the outer system. Multiple contacts, very large. Mira moves to look at the sensor display. How many ships? Dex's eyes widen as he studies the readings. I'm not sure. The signatures are unusual. Whatever's coming, it's big. Across the fleet, other sensor operators begin reporting the same thing. Unknown contacts approaching fast from the direction of the hyperspace jump point. The energy readings are unlike anything in their databases. Aide Tom's voice comes over the general communication channel, calm and matter-of-fact as before. Allied vessels, please maintain current positions. Human fleet arriving momentarily. Warlord Kex's gravelly voice cuts through the chatter from his flagship. What pathetic reinforcements dare approach the Ravager fleet? Identify yourselves or be destroyed along with this worthless rock. The answer comes not in words, but in the form of ships dropping out of hyperspace. The first vessel to appear is enormous, a battleship nearly 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapon emplacements and armor plating thick enough to shrug off capital ship weapons. Its hull bears the simple marking Terran Federation in bold letters. But it's not alone. Another battleship drops out of hyperspace beside it, then another, and another. Mira watches in growing amazement as the human fleet continues to arrive. Heavy cruisers, destroyers, carrier ships launching squadrons of fighters, support vessels, and more battleships than she can quickly count. By the void, whispers Captain Rex of the Goran mining ship. How many ships do they have? The answer becomes clear as the last of the human fleet settles into formation. Over 300 vessels hang in space, a massive armada that dwarfs the Ravager fleet by 3 to 1. The smallest human destroyer is larger than most species' main battle. Cruiser's Dex stares at his sensor readings in disbelief. Ambassador, the lead human ship is reading as having more firepower than our entire planetary defense grid. The communication channel fills with stunned silence from the various alien representatives. This quiet, peaceful species from the dangerous Outer Rim has just deployed a fleet that could conquer half the galaxy. From the human flagship comes a new voice, calm, professional, and utterly without emotion. This is Admiral Ross of the Terran Federation Navy. Ravager vessels, You have 60 seconds to power down weapons and prepare to be boarded. Any hostile action will result in your immediate destruction. Warlord Kex's response comes as a snarl of rage and disbelief. Impossible. Your species barely has spaceflight. This must be some kind of trick. Admiral Ross's reply is simple and direct. 50 seconds. The Ravager fleet, which had seemed so overwhelming moments before, now looks small and outgunned. Some of the pirate captains begin powering down their weapons, clearly recognizing the hopeless nature of their situation. But Warlord Kex is not known for wisdom or surrender. Warlord Kex's pride proves stronger than his survival instincts. The Ravager fleet bows to no one, he roars over the communication channel. All ships, attack pattern 7. Show these soft Deathworlders what real warriors can do. The black ships of the Ravager fleet surge forward, their weapons blazing with deadly energy. Plasma cannons and missile batteries unleash everything they have at the human formation. The space between the fleets lights up with streaks of fire and explosive bursts. Ambassador Mira grips the railing of her ship's bridge as she watches the battle unfold. The alien representatives who had gathered to witness the rescue mission now find themselves spectators to what might be the largest space battle in recent galactic history. The Ravager attack looks impressive, dozens of ships firing in coordinated volleys, their combined firepower enough to level a small moon. But as the weapons fire reaches the human fleet, something remarkable happens. Nothing. The energy blasts and missiles impact the human ship's shields and armor, creating brilliant flashes of light. But the massive Terran vessels don't even slow down. Their shields absorb the punishment without flickering, their thick armor plating showing no signs of damage. Impossible, whispers Lord Vel from his scout ship. No shield should be able to withstand that kind of focused fire. Admiral Ross's voice remains calm and professional. Ravager fleet, you have made your choice. All ships, weapons free. Disable their engines and weapon systems. Minimize casualties. Where possible. What happens next redefines the word overwhelming. The human fleet opens fire, and the difference in technology becomes instantly clear. Where the Ravagers had thrown everything they had at the humans with little effect, the human response is precise, controlled, and devastatingly effective. Beam. Weapons slice through Ravager shields like they don't exist. Kinetic projectiles punch through armor plating designed to stop capital ship weapons. Most terrifying of all, the humans seem to be holding back. Their shots are aimed at engines and weapon systems, not the critical life support areas. Within minutes, half the Ravager fleet is drifting powerless in space. Their crews alive, but their ships completely disabled. The pirates who had terrorized the Outer Rim for years are being systematically dismantled by an enemy that treats their most fearsome weapons as minor inconveniences. Warlord Kex's flagship, the Iron Fang, tries to retreat, but human fighters swarm around it like angry insects. These aren't the clumsy fighter craft most species use for reconnaissance. They're sleek, deadly machines that move with impossible speed and precision. How are they so fast? Asks Captain Rex, watching human fighters dance between Ravager weapons fire without taking a single hit. Aide Tom's voice provides the answer over the communication channel. Human military vessels are built for the conditions of our home system. High radiation, gravitational anomalies, asteroid fields, and hostile weather patterns. Your weapons and ships are designed for civilized space. The battle is becoming a route. Ravager ships surrender one by one as their captains realize the futility of fighting an enemy whose technology is decades ahead of their own. But some of the more desperate pirates try new tactics. A group of Ravager destroyers breaks formation and heads directly for Pharaoh Station, hoping to use the civilian colony as a shield. If they can't win the battle, they'll at least complete their original mission of destroying the mining operation. The human response is swift and surgical. A single human destroyer breaks from the main fleet and intercepts the fleeing Ravagers. What follows is less a battle than a demonstration of superior skill and technology. The human ship moves through the enemy formation like a dancer, its weapons firing with perfect accuracy. Each shot disables a Ravager vessel without destroying it, leaving the crews alive but completely helpless. In less than 3 minutes, all 5 enemy destroyers are drifting dead in space. Mira realizes she's holding her breath as she watches. The display of military precision. These humans fight like they've been doing it for centuries, with a level of coordination and efficiency that speaks of vast experience. "Admiral Ross," comes Warlord Kex's voice, no longer arrogant but filled with desperation. "I surrender. The Ravager fleet surrenders." The human admiral's response is immediate. "Surrender accepted. All Ravager vessels will be boarded and crews taken into custody. Medical teams are standing by to treat the wounded." As human boarding parties begin moving between the disabled pirate ships, Ambassador Mira finds herself wondering about these quiet Deathworlders. They had asked for help with a simple rescue mission, and humanity had responded by deploying a fleet that could conquer half the known galaxy. But perhaps more impressive than their overwhelming firepower was their restraint. They could have destroyed every Ravager ship in minutes, but instead they chose to disable and capture, preserving life even among their enemies. What kind of species, Mira wonders, develops such devastating military capability while maintaining such strong principles about preserving life? In the aftermath of the battle, Ambassador Mira finds herself aboard the human flagship Terra's Pride at Admiral Ross's invitation. The other alien representatives have also been invited to witness the processing of Ravager prisoners and the rescue operations at Pharaoh Station. The interior of the human ship surprises her. Instead of the sterile, efficient corridors she expected, from such a powerful military vessel, the halls are warm and welcoming. Crew members nod politely as they pass, and she notices small personal touches everywhere. Photos, plants, artwork created by the sailors themselves. Admiral Ross meets them in the ship's main conference room. He's a middle-aged human with graying hair and calm eyes that seem to take in everything. When he speaks, his voice carries the same measured tone they heard during the battle. "Welcome aboard," he says simply. "I understand you have questions about our response to your request for aid." Lord Vell, still shaken by what he witnessed, speaks first. "Admiral, your fleet's capabilities far exceed anything in our databases. How long has humanity possessed such military strength?" Ross considers the question carefully. "Our current fleet configuration has been in service for about 15 years, though we've been building and improving it for much longer. But your species only achieved faster-than-light travel 20 years ago," protests the Vex representative, her compound, eyes reflecting confusion. "How could you build such an advanced fleet so quickly?" The Admiral gestures to a large view screen that shows the ongoing rescue operations. Human medical teams are treating wounded Ravagers alongside the liberated colonists, while engineering crews work to repair damage to Pharaoh Station. "When you come from a death world," Ross explains, "you learn to be prepared for the worst. Earth taught us that the universe is dangerous, unpredictable, and often hostile. We've spent our entire history fighting for survival against our own planet." He activates a holographic display showing Earth's solar system. "Our sun produces radiation storms that would kill most species. Our planet experiences earthquakes, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, and ice ages. The space around Earth is filled with asteroids and debris that could destroy a city if they hit at the wrong angle." Mira stares at the display, beginning to understand. "You built your military to defend against your own environment." "Exactly," Ross nods. "Every human ship is designed to operate in conditions that would destroy vessels built for civilized space. Our weapons are made to crack asteroids and deflect solar storms. Our shields protect against radiation levels that exist naturally in our home system." Captain Rex asks the question everyone is thinking. "How large is your fleet, Admiral?" Ross pauses, seeming to consider how much to reveal. "What you saw today represents approximately 8% of our total naval capacity." The silence in the room is deafening. 8%. The massive fleet that had just crushed the Ravagers was less than 1/10 of humanity's military strength. "Why?" asks Lord Vell quietly. "Why build such a vast military force? Your species seemed so peaceful during council meetings." Because we learned the hard way that peace must be protected, Ross replies. Earth's history is full of times when good people suffered because they couldn't defend themselves against those who chose violence. We decided that would never happen again, not to us and not to our friends. Aide Tom, who had been quietly observing from the corner, steps forward. The Human Federation maintains this fleet not for conquest, but for protection. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier exists to ensure that no one has to face overwhelming odds alone. The Admiral brings up another display showing the rescue operations. Today, 2,000 innocent people were threatened by pirates who thought they could take whatever they wanted through violence. We disagreed. Ambassador Mira finds her voice. The Galactic Council had no idea humanity possessed such capabilities. Why didn't you tell us? Ross smiles slightly, the first real emotion he's shown. Would you have believed us? A young species from a dangerous world claiming to have built the largest fleet in known space? You would have thought we were either lying or planning conquest. Instead, Tom adds, we chose to show our intentions through actions. When help was needed, we provided it. When innocent lives were at risk, we protected them. We let our choices speak louder than our words. The alien representatives exchange glances, processing this revelation. Humanity hadn't hidden their strength out of deception, but out of understanding. They knew that revealing such power too quickly would create fear and suspicion. What happens? Now? Asks the Vex representative. Admiral Ross looks out at the stars through the conference room's viewport. Now we continue doing what we've always done. We protect those who need protection. We help those who ask for help. And we make sure that anyone who thinks they can prey on the innocent knows they'll have to go through us first. As if to emphasize his point, reports come in from across the galaxy. Word of the battle has spread through subspace communications, and already 3 other systems are requesting human aid against pirate attacks. The age of humanity as a quiet member of the galactic community is over. 3 months after. The Battle of Pharos Station. Ambassador Mira stands once again in the Galactic Council chambers. But everything has changed. The Great Hall buzzes with nervous energy as representatives from dozens of species discuss the new reality they all face. Humanity is no longer the quiet newcomer sitting in the back rows. The Human Federation now occupies a place of honor near the center of the assembly, and when Aide Tom speaks, everyone listens. The changes began almost immediately after news of the battle spread across the galaxy. Pirate attacks in the Outer Rim dropped to nearly zero as word passed among criminal organizations. Attacking innocent civilians might bring the human fleet to your doorstep. Most pirates decided that easier, safer targets were preferable to facing the overwhelming firepower of Deathworld military technology. But the effects went far beyond simple crime prevention. The Trade Route Protection Initiative has been approved, announces Council Leader Vex, his compound eyes reflecting the chamber's lights. Human patrol squadrons will begin escorting merchant convoys through previously dangerous sectors next month. The merchants in the gallery cheer. For decades, certain hyperspace routes had been too dangerous for civilian traffic due to pirate activity and spatial anomalies. Human ships built to handle the harsh conditions of Earth's solar system can navigate these hazardous regions safely while providing protection to more fragile vessels. Lord Vel rises from his seat, his silver skin gleaming under the chamber lights. The Altarian Confederation wishes to formally request human assistance with the Nexus Station crisis. Mira knows about Nexus Station, a critical communication relay in Altarian space that's been surrounded by a dangerous asteroid field for months. The asteroids appeared suddenly, possibly due to a collapsed star system nearby, and they're too numerous and fast-moving for normal ships to navigate safely. Tom stands and nods politely. The Human Federation will dispatch an engineering fleet to clear the asteroid field and repair Nexus Station. Estimated completion time is 2 weeks. 2 weeks. The Altarians had been struggling with the problem for months, and humanity could Solve it in 2 weeks. This is the new reality the galaxy must adjust to. Captain Rex, now serving as an official representative of the Goran Mining Collective, speaks next. The Outer Rim colonies want to establish a formal mutual defense agreement with the Human Federation. We've prepared a proposal for review. The proposal is simple. In exchange for human protection against pirates and other threats, the mining colonies will provide rare metals and crystals needed for ship construction. It's a fair trade that benefits everyone involved. But not all. The changes are welcomed by everyone. This is unacceptable, shouts Ambassador Kren of the Hegemony, his scaled face flushed with anger. One species cannot be allowed to dominate galactic security. The balance of power is being destroyed. The Hegemony has been one of the major military powers in the galaxy for centuries. They built their influence on the fact that most other species needed their protection against various threats. The sudden appearance of humanity's vastly superior fleet has made their services largely unnecessary. Tom responds with characteristic calm. The Human Federation has no interest in domination. We simply respond to requests for aid from our friends and allies. If the Hegemony wishes to continue providing security services, they're welcome to do so. The polite words carry an implicit message that everyone understands. Humanity won't stop others from trying to provide security, but they'll do it better, faster, and more effectively. Admiral Ross, now serving as the official human military liaison to the Council, addresses the chamber. The Human Federation operates under a simple principle. Those who prey on the innocent will face overwhelming consequences, while those who seek peace will find strong allies. Over the past 3 months, this principle has been tested repeatedly. A slaver ring operating near the galactic core found their entire fleet disabled by human destroyers. A warlord threatening to invade a peaceful agricultural world discovered a human battle group waiting in orbit when he arrived. A corrupt government attempting to massacre political dissidents faced human marines landing to evacuate the threatened civilians. In each case, the human response was swift, decisive, and proportional. No unnecessary destruction, no conquest or occupation, just the immediate resolution of the threat and protection for the innocent. Mira reflects on how quickly the galaxy has adapted to this new reality. Trade routes that were closed for decades are now busy with merchant traffic. Colonies that lived in fear of raiders now focus on growth and development. Scientific expeditions venture into dangerous regions, knowing that human rescue ships can reach them if needed. The council session concludes with the usual administrative matters, but as representatives file out, conversations focus on the same topic they've discussed for months. How does the galaxy function when one species possesses such overwhelming protective power? The answer, Mira realizes, is that it functions better than ever. When Deathworlders offer aid, they don't send a token force or empty promises. They send whatever it takes to solve the problem completely, and the galaxy is learning to be grateful for that. The end of